Okay, you guys asked for a solar video? Here it is. All right guys, today what we have for you, we have a crazy amount of solar power. I've been buying this stuff for probably 6 months. I see something interesting on solar from Temu, I pick it up, I set it down. You guys asked for them on live streams. A lot of fun, by the way. So what we have today, we have some lights. We have a lot of lights because I need one. Now, on top of these lights, we also have a test comparison from Amazon. This is a $19 Amazon light. So we're gonna be hooking all these up. We're gonna unbox them, we're gonna test them, we're gonna get into it, and we're gonna see which one's right for your money. Some of you guys might recognize this. This is the 5-watt solar panel I did in my Temu Under 10 video close to a year ago at this point. My biggest question ever was where to get this thing. I had it in the links. Unfortunately, those Temu links get discontinued. But luckily for you guys, we have a lot more options today, including some lights, some power bank type things, and it's a lot, so let's get into it. All right, we're gonna start up with the biggest thing first, because everybody knows in order to buy stuff, you gotta have a car. Not true, this is Temu, but this is a $2 solar powered car. I just thought this thing was kind of fun, so I thought I'd order it and check it out. We'll test it outside when we're hooking up the lights. All right, moving into the lights. All right, first thing about this one right here, this looks nothing like the solar panel in the pictures. The solar panel in the pictures was a full panel of solar. This looks a lot smaller. I mean, it's an interesting build though. It actually has a glass plate over top inside of this flexible plastic housing with a bit of a mounting bracket. Kind of neat. It also seems to have a remote control that is dirty. It's dirty out of the box. On the bright side though, they did include the AAA batteries and some mounting hardware. So for future reference, when we're doing the testing later, we're gonna count this as solar light number 1 when we're doing our testing. All right, so this right here, this is the actual light portion itself. It's got kind of an odd look. The entire housing is plastic. Now, for those who don't mess with lights too much, bright LED lights tend to come with metal housings for a reason, or at least usually a metal part for heat dissipation. You can see right here, it's got all the surface mounted LEDs. Looks like we possibly have a section here that will show us the charge inside the light. Now, the listing itself got pulled down. I'm gonna put up some similar ones down below if you guys wanna check them out. Usually weeks after I order this stuff, the listings are discontinued, but usually the items are still for sale. You just gotta kind of look around and try to find one that looks similar to find it again. So this in here came in just over 20 bucks. Basic idea right here, you got these 2 connectors. They slide together and then this goes in. Now, if we take a look right here, check out these lights. So it is showing that it is already 100% charged and that it's connected to the solar panel. So being charged already, let's go ahead and turn it on. Now, just while putting the batteries in, I want to give you guys a warning. If you pick up one of these, just judging by the feel of the controller, do not drop it. So we're going to do an inside test, but I'm also going to test these outside at night. So for now, let's get the lights off. We'll take a look at the background and see how bright this thing gets. Okay, we have pretty much all the lights turned off except for a couple of the RGB lights. I wanted those to stay on for a little bit of a reference. So here's the light itself. Now, I'm gonna be honest, it does look a little bit brighter in camera than it actually is here in person, but let's see if we can turn it up. All right, so this is the dimming option right here. Let's check it out. This is the dimmest setting right here. So it is on, but it's not going to illuminate much in the lowest setting. All right, now we'll go full bright with it. Okay, so once it gets to the top and it's full bright, it blinks. Now, okay, this isn't going to win any brightness contests, but I'm very curious to see how this is going to look outside. So again, we're going to be testing all these towards the end of the video outside. Interesting thought about this though. This in here came in over 20 bucks. You know, it doesn't seem bad. It's plastic. The fact that this is supposed to be outside, it does say it's IP67, so it's somewhat resistant. I'll put what IP67 rating means right up here on the screen for you guys. I mean, it's definitely a neat idea for the price, but make sure to stick around, guys, because this one right here apparently comes with 2 lights. It's on Amazon. It was only $19. All right, these next couple lights have a bit of a different shape to them. I thought they might be more useful for what I need. I need some nice outside lights for when I'm charging all my bird scooters. I'm constantly out there with flashlights and it's kind of a pain in the butt. All right, so these ones here look like they come in quite a big pack here. These came in just over $23. As you guys can see right here, these are a totally different design. So we have a different type of LED panel here, not the same type of surface mount LEDs, and they have like a film over top of them. The housing, again, it's all plastic. Then you have the solar panel built right in here on the top. Now, these ones also come with some remote controls, which I find interesting that you get 4 lights and 4 remotes. Pretty nice that it's included. So 23 bucks, you get 4 lights, 4 remotes, and mounting hardware. Now, these do have an IR sensor, so these are going to be IR lights right here. So these have to be in range. There's no type of Wi-Fi in there, even though they have a Wi-Fi symbol. Who knows? Now, on top of the on and off switch here, they also have a manual one right here. All right, so now we got the light off. This is light number 2. Now, I don't know if you guys are noticing it. This is light number 2 on the lowest setting. I think the lowest setting on this might be brighter than the highest setting on the other one. Now let's crank it up. I do have to say these are phenomenally bright for the size. All right, so checking this out here, this is actually the mounting portion. 3 screws, then you slot this end right here in. I mean, just for starter's sake, the brightness on this, it's night and day from the other one. This is definitely a bright light. So on top of that, it does also have a sensor here. So if the sensor is covered, you know, if it gets dark out, these lights are gonna automatically come on. Very nice. Got a little bit of range here. Honestly, so far, light number 2 is looking pretty positive here. All right, now we're on to solar light number 3. I just ordered this one because it's huge. I want to check it out. Again, is bigger, better. So far, no, the little ones seem better. Okay, so this giant one seems to have the very same similar mounting bracket. 3 screws and then it clips in. Probably just gonna mount it straight up and down like this. Got the screws included along with some drywall anchors. You know, it's kind of a weird inclusion. I can't imagine too many people are gonna have drywall outside where they put these, but who knows? All right, packaging a little different. We've got a much bigger solar panel on this one. Again, it looks like a bit older technology. This looks very similar to light number 1. Glass panel on top of a kind of exposed solar panel. I mean, again, we'll have to test it out, see how it works. So this one also seems to have an included remote identical to the last couple. Now, right off the bat, here's my first concern. This top looks very exposed. Although, it does have drain holes. I don't know if you guys can see them too well, but there are drain holes in the side. It's just, whew, that's got a loud click to it. So that's gonna hold pretty well, but that is pretty well exposed. Hopefully the insides are sealed pretty well. So here in the base, honestly, it looks like it's built with the exact same sensors as the last one. You have your on-off switch here. You have your sensor here. Now you have a red blinking light. This red blinking light is probably telling us that it's charging. Now, unlike the other ones, I'm not seeing a physical on-off switch on this one. All right, okay, it's pretty bright. Now, the thing I notice here, it's a small room, not the easiest thing to tell, but it throws light a lot further, but it doesn't entirely seem brighter. Again, this is gonna be a lot easier to tell once we're actually outside and have these mounted and tested. I'm gonna be spraying all of these with water because I wanna see if they make it. But either way, for now it works. I'm gonna be giving these a light spray when they're mounted just to see, you know, if they make it. Because most people are gonna be mounting these outside. You wanna know whether or not the first sprinkle that comes along is gonna take them out. So that is solar light number 3. Before we jump into the Amazon one, we're gonna be kind of comparing the other 3 lights to, we're gonna check out a couple of solar panels too. So these solar panels are a little different than the last ones because they come with their own solar charge controller. These things range anywhere from $40 to $160. One of these actually came with an inverter. The inverter is no longer here. That is no fault of Temu, so unfortunately I won't be testing that. But we can still test the panels. We can test their output and see generally how well they work. So what's really interesting too, 2 completely different listings, but as you can see here, they are selling the exact same product. These solar controllers are almost identical in every possible way. Here's the box for that. Now these I did not purchase separately. These actually came with them. And if we look here, once again, they're identical, same exact user manual. What I find really funny about some of these companies, now we know that a lot of these companies or these resellers, right? They're selling the exact same stuff as everybody else on Temu from the same factories. What's really interesting to me is that the factories will take time to make little changes, like just this right here. the user manual. Colors are different. The words are identical. The fonts are slightly different sizes, but everything's exactly the same. So I find that very interesting. And like these controllers, exactly the same. Words are the same size. I mean, they are the exact same solar charger, but the blue's slightly different color. I just find it interesting they make those little tweaks. All right, so these two listings were vastly different. This one over here was supposed to come with the inverter. It did. Long story short, I accidentally sold it. I thought it came in one of my Amazon pallets. It did not. But without the inverter, they're both exactly the same price, $49 to $50. Although the listings are pretty different. One says 18 watt, 18 volt. The other one says 10 to 60 amps. And this one is rated for up to 30 amps. Well, that's not happening. But I'm very curious to see what they will push. It is a full kit. You know, you have your little controller, you have your solar panel. The question is, how many watts will it actually push? Now, unlike the solar panels we've tested here in the past, so unlike these old solar panels we tested, we're gonna have more than just a USB port on these. Because the USB port's gonna max out at 5 volts. We're gonna have this nice little DC input jack right here on the back. That's gonna allow us to connect to a couple of different things. First off, you have a bare splice wire in case you want to add it to a current charging system. Then we have some clamps. These are probably going to be one of the more useful aspects to it. You have a car battery, you plug them in, but first we need to see exactly what voltage this is outputting, because if this is outputting 5 volts as well, that's not going to be super useful. Then we also have a car input jack adapter here. So plug this into your car. Again, I don't know if this is the safest method of charging your car battery, but it could be a way to keep it topped up if you're on a long trip. Me personally, I probably wouldn't leave this unattended in my vehicle for a long time, but to each their own. Main one I want to test, we're going to wire it in right here. This is the solar charge controller. Then we're going to hook up a battery, maybe a light to it, just kind of test and see what it can do. These were sold from two completely different packages, but I imagine they're pretty identical. So let's take a quick peek here at the back. Nope, these ones are actually different. So right here you have DC in, DC out. You have two USB type A ports here on the back. And the front panel is actually made of a different type of solar material. Now, from the research I've done in the past, this left one here has more of a blue tint to it. That is supposed to be a slightly older technology as far as solar goes, so it's probably going to be less efficient. We'll do our best to test them out, check them out. All right, so next up, I already got it kind of opened up here. This is the Amazon one. So the Amazon one here, you can see it has surface mount LEDs here. You have your sensors all up front here. Then in the back, you have a DC connector that is going to lead you over to the solar panel. Now, this does not feel waterproof in any possible way. Looks like there's a lot of ways water could get in this. So I imagine this one is meant to be put underneath an overhang or something similar to that, while the solar panel part can be put outside, out in the open, wherever you kind of need it. And on that note, it does have a pretty long cable in here as well. All right, next up in the box, very similar to the Temu ones, we also have ourselves a remote control here. This definitely looks a little bit different, but very similar idea. Now, if you thought this last one seemed a little rehearsed, I definitely did not do an entire video segment without recording. I wasn't recording that whole time, was I? Nope, that was somebody else. Anyways, so you can see the light is actually pretty bright. Thing I noticed about this one, it spreads the light a little more evenly. Now that's going to become a little more apparent as to which one has a better light spread once we're outside tonight, once it gets dark. With that said, we're going to get outside, we're going to go ahead and test out those other two panels, kind of put them head to head. So let's get outside, let's check that out, and let's pretend I didn't just do an entire part of the video without hitting record. All right, so we're out here in the dark testing out these lights. This is light number one. Not bad. Now this one does dim down quite a ways. Now this is absolute minimum dimness. I'm not sure what you use it for, but honestly, it's not bad. Now, this remote also has a few different options. This one also has a 3-hour, 5-hour, and 8-hour timer, as well as on and off button and automatic for the sensors. All right, now we're moving on to light 2. Keep in mind, this one came in a 4-pack for right around 20 bucks. I'll keep the price up on the screen here again. They're very bright. Like, they're quite a bit brighter than light number 1. And there's 4 of them for the price, not just one. One other aspect I'm gonna reiterate about light number 1, it does have the external solar panel. So this can be mounted inside of a building and you could run the cable to the solar panel outside, just an excess light in a garage, a storage shed, a lot of options for that. So that is a bonus. Now these ones here have the panel on top. So while they are brighter, they need to be mounted in direct sunlight. We're gonna be doing some water tests with them later here in the video on all the lights. Basically, I'm just gonna spray them out with the hose and see which ones make it. So mode 3 is dim, mode 2 blinks, and then goes bright again. Not quite sure, I'm guessing that's the motion sensitive one. We'll be testing that here again in a little bit. Okay, in this mode here, you can see that they get dim, then as they get closer, they go full bright. So the mode of this one, mode 2, is gonna keep them on dim all the time, or at least for an extended period of time, and then when somebody gets close, they're gonna go bright again. Mode 1 is gonna be always on. Mode 3 is gonna be motion sensitive, but dim. So they work really good, and as long as you keep them on one of the modes where they only come on when you're moving, the batteries are gonna last a long time, even if it's a small battery. All right, so now we're on to the big giant light. Honestly, just from looking around out here, I'd say it is slightly brighter than one of the little ones, but for its size, it's not any brighter really. And the fact that this one comes with 4, I'm already kind of feeling that that's a better deal overall, but it's not bad. It actually has the exact same modes and works with the same remote. All right, so as you can see, this light dimmed down. As it gets closer, comes right back up. It seems the timer for the mode 2 is set right about 1 minute. Now, I don't see any actual way to change those numbers, so realistically, just that's kind of what you should expect. But keep in mind, you can always put it on mode 1, which just stays on for much longer. And finally, we're on to the Amazon light. Now, the Amazon light, it has 3 different settings as well. So even though the remote looks a little bit different, it works almost identical to the Temu versions. Now the light does spread a lot further with this one, but it's dimmer. So again, really depends on what you're looking for. But on the bright side, this in here, about 20 bucks on its own. You get 1 light, it's an okay deal. This in here, you at least get 2 for $19 when it's on sale, 30 bucks not on sale. Overall, I mean, you guys let me know in the comments which one's your favorite at this point in the video before we do the water test. Which one would you pick? Me personally, I'm probably gonna have to go with the 4 little ones for $23. It just kind of seems like the best deal. Well, that's it for the night test. Let's go ahead and get on to the water test. All right, guys, I sprayed them down as we can see here. They are good and wet. They are dripping water off. All right, we'll be back in a bit to see if they still work. Okay, here we go. So we have this solar panel attached to the controller first. You can see the battery's only at 11.6 volts. That is correct. That's what we hooked up. It's just an old battery, it's a deep cycle. Now you're gonna need a battery to take full utilization of a solar charge controller because they need that 12 volt source to kind of make this little screen light up here. So you can see this is the blue panel, the one that I thought was possibly older technology. Now let's check the volts coming out of the actual panel. Now currently, the voltage coming out of the panel is 11.8 volts. The sun's a little bit behind the clouds right now. So just to show the maximum charge possible from this panel, I did disconnect the battery on the negative terminal and check this out. It's currently pulling in 20 volts off of this one panel. So these panels do have the ability to go up for sure, but the charge controller here is going to limit it when there's a battery in line because it doesn't want to overcharge it with a higher voltage. Now on top of that, we are charging at about half an amp right now, 506 milliamps. Again, not a crazy amount of sun out right now, so it's not exactly gonna fast charge anything. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and test the other panel. Honestly, pretty impressed that it'll push out that many volts, even if it is a slower charge at half an amp. But if you're not using something, That's a great way to trickle charge something or just kind of keep it topped up when you're not around it, a camper or something else. All right, we are now hitting crazy direct sunlight with this new panel. So this is the other panel. This is the more black one, but honestly, they seem to be about the same. Neither of them are pushing any higher in the milliamps, but this one is bringing the battery up a little faster in that direct sunlight. It's showing a little higher voltage on the output. All right, just to give us a clear setup of what you're gonna need. You don't need the meters. So, charge controller, center post, connect to the battery here, and in the left post, connect to the solar panel, and boom, they're charging. All right, guys, the results are a little more than I expected. So, coming along the lines, have the remote in my hand that works for all of them. You guys can see these lights come on no problem, but since it's daylight out, they shut back off. The Amazon one actually works with the Temu remote. It works just fine. But this one here, light number 3 and light number 1 are both dead. This one does have a flashing light. I have taken it off and tested it in the dark, but it does not work after the rain. So we're gonna go ahead and call this one an absolute fail. IP67, no sir. Now, if you look closely here, it has been hours since I sprayed these. You can actually see the water along the edge of the seals here. My fingers are even wet. Those ones, just fine. Still some water on them. Take a look right there, but just fine. That one, nothing other than a blinking light. All right, guys, so good news. 2 of our lights don't work, but the car does. It's pretty cool. It is and isn't worth $2 because it's not gonna work on any kind of rough surface, but it's a fun little toy. Now, back to the lights. So, I gave it another hour or so to dry, and the other 2 will not come back on. So lights 1 and 3 failed the rain test. I was kind of worried about that, but I guess it is what it is. So we had some pretty cool solar panels in this video. We had some pretty cool lights. Honestly, number 2 is gonna be my favorite. You guys let me know down below, which ones would you guys consider buying? What would you use the solar panels for? Make sure to let me know if you guys like videos like this. You want me to check out solar panels from anywhere else? Let me know. But I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you on the next one.